Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repair. Today we got something pretty cool. It's a 1962 Hofner Verithin. Pretty cool. So I picked this up from a local seller, and apparently it was owned by his a musician in the family, an uncle or something, and he used to be in a polka band. So this thing has a bunch of stickers and kind of flashy stuff added to it. Like if you look here, that's like I think it's like a tattoo that he added to the finish. I was scraping on the side there, and it seems like it comes off pretty easy, so I think I'm going to be removing that. And then he has some of his own like stickers here for the labels for the controls. And yeah, this is a cool guitar. It's got some really nice inlays for the fret markers, and some nice inlay work on the headstock. And then the back on this thing is gorgeous. It's got some really nice flame in the maple, and it's a set neck construction. There's just some more of those stickers. We're going to be removing those today. And then the body is very thin, which is where this guitar gets its name, the Hofner Verithin. Yeah, and these are German made. Just waiting to focus there. Yeah, German made guitars, and pretty nice quality it seems like. And there's our trem system, and we got a bunch of electronics that we're going to be going through. And these are like the blade style humbucker pickups. So yeah, pretty cool. Let's get it on the bench and have a look at the specs. Alright, here we have it on the bench to take some specs, but I just want to go over some cool stuff I found in the case. So it came with this pretty nice vintage coil cord. Looks like from the 60s. And then it came with an old Gibson pack of strings from the 60s, so this is kind of a cool little throwback. Neat. And then it came with this super old school capo. So it looks like you just attach it to the front and then it levers on like so. Kind of neat. And then this had fallen off in the case, but this is just like a pick holder that he had mounted, so that's another part that I'm gonna have to take off. But it had some pretty cool old picks in here from the 60s as well, I believe. I'm having trouble getting the last few out here. Oh, here we go. So here's a Hagstrom pick and an old Gibson pick, some old Maserite picks, and yeah, and some Ernie Ball picks. Here's another Ventures Maserite pick, and just some standard nylon. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Alright, so our weight here is 7 pounds 3.2 ounces. So here's our neck profile. Looks like it's a pretty standard C shape. Have a better look at that. And the neck itself is fairly chunky. It looks like it's kind of a narrow neck, but also pretty thick. So we'll get those measurements right now. So our first fret neck width is 1.56, so quite a small little thin neck, and it goes up to 1.95 at the 12th. And our first fret neck depth, just gonna zero out the calipers here, there we go, is 0.89. So kind of a thin neck, but standard thickness. And that goes up to 0.96 at the 12th. I just wanted to take a minute to appreciate this fretboard, which is really nice. It's got the that kind of a reddish tinge that with the streaks, so I think this is actually Brazilian rosewood, which was common on guitars in the 60s. Because yeah, it's really got that dark kind of a reddish tinge that Brazilian rosewood is known for. And the frets are a little bit pitted, so we're gonna have to do a repair for these ones to smooth them out. And then the truss rod is kind of a Gibson style. It's a bolt style, and I tried to adjust it with a Gibson sized one. It's not the right size, so I had to go through all my truss tools, and I found one that works. And yeah, it looks like the truss is nice and responsive. It's not seized or anything else like that, and there's lots of room for adjustment. There's no threads showing, so that's cool. So our scale length is 25.5, and our radius, using my notched radius tool here, stand by, there we go. So it looks like our radius is a 7.25. Alright, so let's talk about the electronics. So this model had some unique electronics compared to some of the other Hofners. So it's got the 3 pickups, and then it's also got kind of like a Jaguar or a Mustang kind of a thing going on, where you can control each pickup going on or off here. So the bass is the neck, the discant is the middle, and the treble is the bridge. And then on this side of the controls, we've got a master volume, tone for each pickup, and also we've got a solo button. So what this is a boost circuit, so this will boost the signal, so you can go from rhythm to solo when you're soloing. And then this one here that is missing a knob, it's actually a tone shaping, so you can kind of control the overall tone with that knob there. So I'm trying to get a reading out of the multimeter, and not every single pickup is reading on here. Let's see. And I just plugged it into the amplifier to double check everything. So everything is working as it should. But sometimes, just depending on the components of these old wiring harnesses, it doesn't read properly through a multimeter. Oh, there we go. So we got some reading there. So it appears when I have some combination of the pickups on the guitar, I'm getting a reading, but only in the solo portion. And it seems like only if I have all 3 pickups on at the same time. Alright, there's one. Okay, so if I have the 2, the neck and the middle on, I'm getting a reading of 14.14. If I have all 3 on, I'm getting a lower reading of 13.91. And then any other combination, I'm getting nothing. So, but it has confirmed that everything is working on there. So next what we're going to do is going to take an endoscope to the inside and see what's going on inside of it. Okay, here we are having a look on the inside. We can see our center block there, and the pickup. There is our 3 pickup switch. So all the wood and glue areas look quite clean. It's a little hard to move the endoscope in there right the way you want it. So there is our wire that from the 3 pickup switch, and we can see that there's a little bit of a gap over the maple block, and there's nothing in there. And moving on to the other side, looks like there's a little piece of paper in there. I tried to remove it, but I couldn't quite get it, so it looks like it just might be a little piece of something stuck to the residue. But inside it looks very clean, and no issues. It looks like it was well manufactured. So now we're moving on to the next cavity on the other side, where the potentiometers are through the F-hole and whatnot. We'll get a better look at that later when we remove the cavity. And here we are. So that one little screw was the pick guard screw. Just trying to get recentered as we go back in here to get a better angle. And yeah, that's the horn. You can see everything looks nice and clean. There's our pickups showing there. And we're going to turn around and look at the potentiometers and controls. So there we are. We're going to get a better look at these when we take off the cavity. So a couple of things I noticed. Yeah, there's some picks in there, and it looks like they're using older style capacitors and potentiometers. I also noticed there's kind of a sticker over there and a little dust nest full of shavings and whatnot. But everything looks quite clean inside, and we'll get a better look at the potentiometers and components used when we remove the cavity. And yeah, so that should about do it. And so we can go ahead and remove the cavity plates and have a look on the inside. Alright, we got the strings off and all the screws out so we can have a look at the electronics. Yeah, so let's have a look at this tremolo system, which is pretty cool. So this trem system doesn't need a stop bar or a roll bar or anything else like that. It's just a spring with a lever, and then you put the strings in back here, so that's kind of cool. I haven't really seen that before. And our bridge is a floating bridge, and it looks like you just hand adjust the saddles for intonation, and they seem to be acrylic little pieces here that the strings rest in. That's kind of neat. And then it looks like you adjust the height with the 2 screws there. So that's a pretty neat bridge. I've never seen one like that before. And then this is our 3 pickup switcher. So a little dusty, but overall looks, everything is original and as it should be. I'm going to throw in a little contact cleaner on everything just to clean everything up, because it's probably been a long time since that's happened, if ever. Alright, so here's our first pickup. There's our maple block that's running through the inside. And we can see our layers here, sandwich layers, usually poplar, maple poplar, kind of like an ES335. So that's our neck pickup. Here's our middle pickup, much the same. Nice clean looking routes, but mostly all you can see there is the maple block. And again, the same for our bridge. And they're just unbranded pickups. They're branded from the front. They say Hofner. They're engraved, which is a nice little detail. And then here is our control cavity. Oh, looks like I might be missing. Oh no, here we go. So it looks like a little difficult to remove there. Alright, so I saw a couple of things when I was with the endoscope. So it looks like we've got some picks in here. So we'll go ahead and grab those. And then we've got some fluff and a sticker. Not sure what that is. It says Walter on it, which I assume is the name of the player who had it before. And I don't really want to tug or pull on anything because it looks like a wiring nightmare a little bit. Kind of complicated with all the different stuff. So, but everything looks original. There's some nice capacitors and tone bleeds and all sorts of stuff going on there. So I'm just gonna give it a quick spray right now, and then I can put everything back together and make sure it still works. I'm gonna spray the inside of the potentiometer. Inside there. I'll give these a spray too. And clean up any of that stuff. Okay, so everything's fit back in all right. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in, make sure everything's still working, and then we can start removing some stickers and doing some fret work and cleaning up the guitar. Alright, all the screws are back in and everything works as it should. So now we're just gonna work on removing some of these stickers and such, and see if we can get these flowers off. So like I said, they seem to be, yeah, they're coming right off. They seem to be tattooed on there. So I'm just using my nail to scratch them off here. And then I don't want to use anything too hard because I don't want to risk damaging the surface. I've actually done it with a nail before too, like a fingernail, and damaged the surface before, so you got to be kind of careful. Let me just make sure I'm not doing anything. Yeah, it looks fine for what I'm doing here, so I can just continue. So yeah, it's coming off just fine, and it's not affecting the finish at all. So I'll go ahead and get those off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start removing some of these stickers. So this one, it looks like yeah, so it looks like he took out the strap pin to put in the sticker. So I'm gonna have to remove that strap pin now. Oh, that's in there pretty good. Let's see, where's my other screwdriver? Okay, there's the strap button. Put it somewhere where I'm not going to lose it. And we'll keep working on these stickers. So there's going to be some glue residue we're going to have to get rid of all over this guitar. For nitro finish, there's a couple things that I can use for that. So I've got Goo Gone that works pretty well. Also, just my basic cleaner, the Dunlop 65, seems to work pretty well for that as well. Whoa, I didn't even notice these stickers. So, looks like he's got a whole bunch of X's over here with kind of a label maker sticker. I think there's only a couple stickers left. This one here. Okay, all the stickers are off. Oh, missed one. And there's lots of sticker residue all over this guitar. So now I'm gonna spend the next while cleaning this thing up, getting rid of all the residue, and then we can start working on fret stuff and maybe a setup and a restring and that kind of thing. Okay, here we are nearly 2 hours later. So a lot of that residue was pretty difficult to remove. I ended up having to use a Goo Gone and a lot of elbow grease. That ribbon, silver ribbon stuff in particular, was a really big pain to remove. There was lots of residue left by that, and it was all over the place. It was all over the fretboard and sides of the guitar and on the control plastics, and on the headstock. But now I've pretty much removed everything. There's a little bit of residue left. See if I can focus there. There's a little bit of residue left from those tattoos that were on there, but it's pretty minor. No more residue on the back and sides. And there's another look at our very nicely flamed back. And everything's looking good. So yeah, this guitar is in really good condition. There's no scratches or dings anywhere. Most of the sticker, well, all of the sticker residue has been removed. There's just a little bit of remnants from whatever was left there. The fretboard is Brazilian rosewood. It's in really good condition. Our frets right here just have a tiny bit of divoting. So we're going to go ahead and correct that and run it through the buffing wheel, and then we'll be ready to restring it and set it up. Show how to get rid of these divots. So it looks like they're only in the first 3 frets or so, and a little bit on the 0 fret nut. And it's pretty simple. I just like to use my diamond file for this, and it's just a couple passes over the fret to get rid of those divots. If they're really deep, it may require a fret level. In this case, I would say they don't, because it's pretty minor. And typically, divots this small don't cause any issues. It's just more of a cosmetic thing than anything. So they're pretty easy to fix. Alright, so that's gotten rid of it already. Just gonna go on my 0 fret a little bit here. And then after the buff out, you won't even be able to see those divots anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and spark up the fret buffer and give it a fret buff. Alright, so all buffed up really nicely, and there's hardly any marks left of the divots, so that's what we wanted, so looks good. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and restring it. I'm going to be using the EXL 120s, and then we can set it up and intonate it. Alright, so here we are, restrung. Stretch the strings, intonated. So yeah, you had to move the saddles by hand for intonation, but it worked okay. And the strings are, yeah, like I said, stretched, and our action is quite good. If you can see at the first fret here, if we fret at the 3rd, it's just resting against the 1st fret, which is about how you want it. And then on the 12th fret, we're looking at about 2 millimeters on the low E and about 1.5 on the high E. So quite good action. And I'm just going to check for buzz anywhere. Alright, great. So yeah, plays really nicely, no buzz anywhere, up and down the fretboard. I've been using the tremolo quite a bit, and it seems to stay in tune relatively well. So yeah, stays in tune quite nicely even with the trem, which is good. Alright, so we're about ready to plug it in and see how it sounds. Okay, here we've plugged into the 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue. We've got the Bugera PS1 Power Soak, running none of the pedals right now, so we're just going off the reverb of the amp. And we're just going to get some clean sounds. So right now I'm just using the bridge pickup, which is the back pickup. Nice and clean. This is the middle pickup. And then the neck pickup. on. So yeah, it sounds quite different in each position, but it sounds quite good in every position. So that's the bridge pickup. So yeah, kind of a nice little surfy rock guitar. So everything's maxed out over here, but if you can roll down the treble on each pickup. So everything works there. So to get an idea what this boost circuit does, it basically just boosts your whole signal. So this is it in rhythm. So it just kind of makes it mellow, and then if you hit the solo button, it just boosts the signal. And then you have this contour button. So it just looks like you can make some slight adjustments to the tone with it. It doesn't seem to do much, that button there. Alright, so we can try it with a little bit of distortion, just to see how that sounds. So we've got the soul food distortion. Actually, I might use my OCD full tone for this, or maybe even the Taurus. Because if I jack this up, I can get some natural distortion out of the amp. So we're just using the Toro Servo. Turn up the amp a little bit more just for some more breakup. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. Yeah, so quite a nice little spanky guitar. It's got some really nice sounding pickups. And you can get some really nice clean sounds as well as some pretty decent overdrive. So yeah, sometimes these older guitars, especially, you know, 50s, 60s, they just don't have the playability of modern guitars. You just can't get the action low, or they don't feel very good to play, or things like that. This one, the attention to detail on it is pretty awesome. It's definitely a player's guitar. It plays great. It's got really nice sounding pickups. The action's low. The frets are smooth, bends nicely. It's got that 0 fret nut there, so you can get nice low action at the nut as well. The bridge seems to keep the intonation in tune really well. And the tremolo works great and keeps the guitar in tune really well. Yeah, and then, you know, you've got some other really nice things about it, like the really thin body. Makes it nice and light and easy to play. It's a little bit neck divey. I believe if I had a strap on here, it'd be kind of neck diving a little bit because the body is so light. But not too bad. And it's got that really nice flamed maple back, you know, set neck construction. All the binding looks really good. Nothing's lifting or moving. And it's got a maple neck, a multi-piece maple neck, so those are really solid and stable. And then, yeah, your rosewood fingerboard with these really nice inlays, which is mother of pearl with some black kind of binding material. And then you've got your really nice inlays on the headstock. You've got your triple humbucker pickups that sound really good. And there's a lot you can do in terms of versatility with your tones and your pickup combinations and your boost switch and tone shape. So yeah, I'd say this is quite a great guitar, and it didn't need too much work. All that sticker stuff was really a pain to remove, but overall it wasn't too bad. So this will be available on my Reverb page if you want to have a look. And yeah, until next time, thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair, and we'll see you soon.